Artlist.io.
Welcome to First Stream Podcast presented by Bet Rivers. Make sure you download the Bet Rivers app or go to www.betrivers.com. You must be 21 years or older to play. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the First Stream Podcast. Help us reach that magical number of 400 subscribers. And it is Cowboys week. We are here with the one and only Lou Holder. Lady A's over there to my right. My left. She's over there to my left, and Lou Holder's right down there. Lou, thank you for joining us. You got something on your mind?
Well, first of all, that theme music is bumping. I mean, that's some good stuff there, man. I was actually it's actually almost better than the entertainment in the stadium these days. So
I agree.
They got to do something better. I don't know what it is, Lady A. I can't put my finger on it. But it was just when I got here, it used to. The Funky Four was there. Then they had some other people, and now they have this entertainment team. Yeah. And nobody's really entertained. It's just too much. It might work for the Wizards games and some other stuff like that, but in a big, sprawling stadium, I don't know if it works. I just say you scrap the whole thing. I don't need to be entertained by those people. I need to be entertained with the people who have pads on.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, I don't need the bait and switch. I need you to play. I need the team to play better, right? And that was just. I mean, we knew. Let's be honest. As soon as Carson Wentz was named the quarterback for the Washington Commanders, you knew that everybody in the surrounding Philadelphia area circled that date on the calendar to make their way down to Washington to either boo Carson Wentz, boo the Washington Commanders, or do both. And early on, the defense didn't play that bad. They were shutting them up. But at the end of the day, the three things that we were that I talked to you about, Toothpick, that I was concerned about reared its ugly head, right? What is it, this thing about Carson Wentz? First of all, Scott Turner, the game plan should have been aborted. When you see your quarterback getting killed like that, stop dropping him back. He kept dropping him back. Yep. 7-step drops. He needs to be out in 3, right?
Right.
Tom Brady is just as slow as Carson Wentz, but he never gets hit because, boom, that ball is out. Carson Wentz holds onto the ball way too long. His footwork starts to get all crazy. His mechanics, he overthrows everything like that. Well, we knew that coming in. You gotta. If you're the offensive coordinator, you gotta make it so your quarterback can be successful, right? 9 sacks. I think 6 or 7 of them guys were the offensive line because they're just not that good.
Right.
But a couple of them were Carson Wentz just holding on the ball. Check down. Throw it to the check down. I mean, if we can see it, how come he can't see it? Right? So that was always a concern of mine. That offensive line, I told you that Toothpick from the beginning, right?
Yes.
You can't bring in guys from Carolina all day long, just because you're familiar with them. Who has walked out the door in the last couple of years? Trent Williams, Brandon Sheriff, Eric Flowers, Settles, Sheriff.
You showed Flowers the door.
All that, and who are you protecting? All this money that you gave to him. Who's protecting him, right? It's just a different dynamic. That Philadelphia Eagles, we gotta be honest with ourselves here in Washington to know where we are, right? As the collective unit. They're just better. They're better in the front office. They're better on the field. Howie Roseman has that team, clicking. And we're able to build parts, with a savvy business strategy because Jalen Hurts is on his rookie deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he's not making a whole lot of money, so they're able to get all this stuff, and he's playing out of his mind. I mean, they know what they're doing over there, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that they don't have the potential here in Washington, but potential should at some point lead to results, right? There's been potential here, but it's not leading to results, right? And then that defense, man, I'm telling you that Jack Del Rio, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you can't blame Jamin Davis for everything, right? So what about all those others, right? I mean, we had a very, very candid conversation with Kendall Fuller, in the locker room afterwards. He goes, "Yo, they just got us. They just got us." I mean, we all know that the NFL is an offensive league, right? It playing corner in this league, it's just death. You don't really get a chance, right? I mean, being here for 20 years, there's only two people that I have put a mic to that has had no problems playing their position without having any difficulty. Daryl Green and Champ Bailey. That's the list. That's the
Wow.
list. Everybody has problems because it's an offensive-minded league. I mean, look, the red zone is for people to go and watch the offense score against the defense. Nobody
Right.
wants to see the defense succeed, right? So
Right.
they got burned. But Washington has wide receivers too now.
Right.
Yes.
So one quarterback was getting his wide receivers the ball, the other 7-step drops getting bum rushed, and they only brought 4. They weren't blitzing; they were bringing 4 and getting to them. Right? Those were the 3 things that I was concerned, and a lot of people were concerned about. But you got to have a short memory in this league. This is Dallas week, as you said. That Philly game is over. You lost the game at home in your division. You cannot go down, another game in your division. I mean, just look at the teams that they played. Jacksonville is a much improved team. They are 2-1 with a first-year head coach, and they are playing very well. Detroit playing very well. The Eagles playing well. I mean, this league is getting better, and Washington needs to keep up.
How
They
do we
do.
stop? How do
Yeah.
we stop our defense? What does Jack Del Rio do to stop the defense from regressing? Every week it's getting a little worse, right? 22 points in Detroit in the first half, 24 points in um, at home versus Philly. Now we're taking on a Dallas defense that has to be at least top 5 in the NFL. We don't want to give up 26 or more points. What do we do to stop the regression of our defense?
Man, I wish I had the answer to that, but what I can tell you is that this is a total team effort, right? So let's just break it down, right? You prepare for your show, right? And me and Lady A come on, and we are not prepared at all. You're prepared for your show, right?
Right.
Me and Lady A come on, and we are just not prepared. We're unprofessional. We don't know what we're doing. It now transfers onto you. You prepared. It's now transferred onto you, and now you get frustrated, right? The frustration that defense must have felt, right? Uh, they stopped them. They had Washington in check for the first couple of series, right?
Right.
But your quarterback is getting sacked. The offense is not moving anything right there, right?
Right.
Mentally, you're like, yo. I mean, if the coordinator on the team that you're expecting to score points is Jack Del Rio, then we got a problem.
That's
Right?
the wrong coordinator supposed to be scoring.
This defense is not going. This defense is not the Ravens team that's going to be turning the ball over and pick sixing all over the place. So
Right.
now you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, you know what? We are busting our butts, but our offense can't even put a field goal on the board for the last 2 games in the first half. 0. You can't get close enough to kick a field goal.
The defense scored first.
Yep.
So
They got that safety.
So that defense is demoralized mentally because you know what? That was the part of the team that was. I mean, mentally, let's be honest. If Washington put up some points, that defense would have been energized. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if your
Yeah.
defense is looking at an offense is putting up goose eggs in the last 2 first halves of the game, man, it's going to transfer on them. That's human nature. That ain't sports. That's human nature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everybody's got to. If everything else ain't working, the defense is going to be like, yo. I mean, how much are we going to be able to do? Without the offense and the special teams being in lockstep with one another. It's a whole team effort. It's a whole
Lady,
team effort, and they
Lady, you
need.
got
And then,
something?
but you know what? They can win that game in Dallas. It's not like they have
Oh,
superior
yeah.
players all over the place. They're playing with a backup quarterback.
Facts.
I don't. McCarthy doesn't impress me as some genius head coach or whatever
Nope.
like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like they can be got in certain places, but what are they doing in those rooms, those coordinators, to actually expose the weaknesses that Dallas have? Because they have weaknesses all over the field, just like Washington does, right?
Right.
At
Right.
the end of the day, it's a gut check. You got to man up and say, you know what? We got to win this game in our division before they come back here and play Tennessee.
Right.
So, Lady A, you got some.
Yes. So I completely agree. During the game, my issue was I felt the defense was tired, mentally and physically tired. They were on the field far too long. Of course, we saw Carson, holding on to the ball. But one thing that was really stand out to me was the offensive line. I felt like it was a any given Sunday moment. I said this on our last show. It was almost like they meant for him to get hit.
Hmm.
Going forward, when we go into Dallas, do you think that there are any key changes that they need to make on that offensive line so we won't have the same problem, which of course we see was like an avalanche? Everything just came down because of those issues.
Sadly, I don't. I think they're going to have to mask it in other ways. Quick step drops. They're going to have the tight ends are going to come in. They have to come in and pass protect, max protection. He needs he has to get that ball out in 3. 7 is not going to do it, right? And that offensive line. I mean, obviously, you know what? Let me rephrase that, Lady A, and say, you know what? They gotta establish the run, right? The Hogs,
Mm.
the offensive linemen. If you pour true serum into any offensive lineman, they would rather be pushing than retreating all the time,
Yeah.
right? And when you are in pass protection, you are retreating all the time, right? The feet work of Trent Williams for a man that size was unbelievable. And other people have had it, but for the most part, offensive linemen want to push. They don't want to retreat, right? So to answer your question again, as I think about it, what can happen for them is a heavy dose of the run. Establish that run. Don't go away from the run, because I think they went away from the run a little
Yes.
bit. I think they were having some level of success, right? At least don't give up on it so easily. These offensive linemen don't want to be pass protecting all
Right.
the time. They want to be able to push. And you got to bring in a tight end to help with that. That's what a tight end's supposed to do. An extra blocker,
Mhm.
use McKissick and Antonio Gibson in different ways where they could flare out or something like that. So you're not going to be, and a toothpick, I told you, you're not going to be able to hit those long bombs to McLaurin and Dotson at will on these defenses in the NFL.
Right.
You might catch them one time, catch them a couple of times. They caught Jacksonville early with a couple of them,
Mhm.
but that's not going to be the life of this team, being able to throw 40, 50 yards down the field, darts, with Carson Wentz not on his back. These defenses are getting better and better and better. And I'm looking at the schedule. These defenses that are coming in here. I mean, Green Bay is going to be coming in here. Minnesota. I mean, it doesn't end. It doesn't end.
Minnesota's defense is not that great,
Not
but
that great, but
the
I'm
next
talking
couple
about
of
the
defenses
team,
that we're fighting, the next couple of defenses that we're fighting up against, they are ridiculous. And
right? The
before
Chicago
you,
Bears, the Tennessee Titans, the
Yep.
Green Bay Packers. I mean,
Packers, yep,
I mean, it's just so. Again, you got to keep them honest. I think that they knew that Carson was limited.
Right.
Philly knows that Carson is
they got the
limited.
book on them.
Yep.
It doesn't look like Scott Turner was prepared.
So I got another question for you about someone on his coaching staff, and that person on his coaching staff is Ernie Zambizi, the quarterback coach, right? And he's been around for quite a while. I think he has double-digit years in the NFL. At what point in time does he get in that headset and say, "Run the doggone ball"? What about anybody on the defense? Anybody on the defense start yelling because North
Scott.
Scott Turner is on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I know these defensive players had to be yelling, "Run the ball, Scott." Somebody's got to be talking to this guy. Run the
I
ball. Give us a break.
yeah,
Yeah.
I,
And
I actually think that Scott Turner should be back up in the booth. I don't think on the field. I don't think he's seeing what we're seeing, right?
Right.
I don't know what that's all about. I hope it's not that, Carson needs to have his hand held, so that's why you need your offensive coordinator down on the field. I
he has a
think
tablet. He
I
can see it.
yeah,
He has a tablet.
so I don't know why he's on the field. I think Scott Turner can see things better from um up top. But at the end of the day, um the buck stops with Ron Rivera.
Yep.
Sampezi, the person that you mentioned, the coordinators that I mentioned. I mean, this is more than a head coach. He's in charge of all the personnel. I mean, he is the buck stops with him.
Right.
He's more than the head coach. So that's the way that the system has been designed. Um, you know, they got to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's where they are. They have to figure it out. They got to figure this thing out.
Let's move on to this. Used to be Redskins football team, Commanders, Cowboys rivalry. Now, I grew up on this thing. My dad, he a long time ago. I mean, we were winning. This thing was about who's going to run the East,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it'll be the New York Giants, and sometimes it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles. But it was always
Yeah.
these two teams,
Yeah.
right? And we got them this week.
Yeah.
And I always tend to find that whoever wins that first one, the second one means that much more, right? And we have them. Our second game is the last game of the season. Don't want that. Don't want to think about that right now. Let's deal with the here and now. And this Sunday coming up, it's time to go get them because Santana did his thing. He was on the sideline fussing. We practiced this all weekend. We have it running in the game. He hit with 2 touchdowns. Bang bang, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 touchdowns. They said, hey. And he told the coach, we practiced this all week. He's on the sideline yelling, we got it. It's there. Let's do it. Who needs to be yelling, in YouTube's opinion, this week? Feed me the ball. Give me the ball. Let's put it on my back, because even the great Joe Gibbs went 0-5 before he realized my passing game's not working. Let me turn around and hand it to my running back.
Well, I mean, any game plan that only has Terry McLaurin not touching the ball until the third quarter, I mean, that's a bad game plan. I mean, you gave him all this money. Get that man the ball.
Double-digit times.
Feed that man the ball. Target him. Let him go and jump over people and do whatever. He got target. His first target was in the third quarter.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep.
You serious? That's the guy you let Brandon Sheriff go, to save money to sign this guy, and he's not getting the ball enough. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a running back that, demands to get the ball. I think in this case, it's the man you gave all that money to. He told us in the locker room that his job in the threesome that they have with Samuels and Dotson and him, his job is to take the top off the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let him take the top off the defense. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
I don't. But then again, if your quarterback is on his back and being bum rushed with a 7-step drop, you're not going to get it to him anyway.
Right.
So there's just a lot of things, a lot of system things that need to be fixed. But you can't lose home games in the NFL. You just can't. I mean, you just can't. So I mean, that's my thing. I think Terry McLaurin needs to get the ball a lot, at least targeted more. Don't know if he can get it to him, but he wasn't even targeted. He wasn't even targeted.
Nope.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Lady A, do you think Jonathan Williams and J.D. McKissick need to touch the ball more as well?
Yeah. So when you ask that question, as far as who should be the one, immediately I thought Eminem, McLaurin, McKissick. I've seen McKissick do so many wonderful things. I mean, get both of them the ball, and I think you got something. We saw Terry do well in the Jacksonville game, but even in that game, he didn't get the ball enough. McKissick seems to be getting the ball more than Terry, obviously, but I think that you go with a classic Eminem. and
Yeah.
you have something.
And I actually, it's just amazing. I don't know if you both recall that McKissick, had an agreement in place with Buffalo,
Right.
right? And said, you know what, I want to come back to Washington because that's how much he believed in this team, right?
Right. Right.
We'll reward that man for his efforts and give him the darn ball.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He chose, and I'm sure he's looking at the Bills now like, ugh,
Right.
what was I thinking?
They're doing something. They're doing something right now.
So, but he wanted to stay here. If you want to stay here, loyalty should mean something. Give him the ball. I mean, so but again, it's the NFC East. It's a
The most competitive
great
division in football right now, too.
it's still the best division in football. Lombardi trophies aside, I think there's 11 in the case.
Yes.
There's 11 in the case. I mean, it's still historically the best division in football. And my Dallas Cowboy, Washington Redskin Commander team memories are, as a broadcaster, I mean, the one you told me about Santana, I was there in the stadium. I had my story already written, and by the time I got from the top of the press box down, I'm standing there with Chief Z, and Santana catches that second thing coming right to me, and I was like, "You almost like, did that just happen?" Rewrote my whole story. I mean, they weren't doing anything, but that's still not my most favorite memory. My favorite memory as a broadcaster was when Troy Vincent blocked that kick by Vanderjack. Sean Taylor picks it up,
Yes.
right? Starts running around and gets 15 yards more because of a face mask. That's just enough for Nick Novak to kick the game-winning field goal. I was on the field for that one, right? And that place has shaken before, but that was the closest that it got to the old RFK days where you could feel the ground shaking.
Yep.
Right? That was Gibbs versus Parcell. I mean, that was phenomenal. And then a personal memory for me. I am not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I am not. I was born here in Washington, and I am not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, but I will be forever grateful and forever indebted to the Dallas Cowboys organization for how they treated me and my family. My dad recently suffered some kidney failure, and my Christmas present to him and my son was to take them both to the Dallas Cowboys Washington game down in Dallas a couple of years ago. It was the last game for Bruce Allen.
Okay.
And it was the last game actually for Jason Garrett as the head coach of Dallas.
That's right.
And that staff, I have to give it to them. They treated me and my dad well. My dad is a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. He's the embarrassment of my family, but he is a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. And to give that man a memory where he met Emmett, he met Jerry Jones, he met, he met the head coach, he met Aaron, he met Joe Buck, he met all these people because the Dallas Cowboys organization, they did that thing. They gave me a son, memories of a lifetime with my father that I will forever be grateful for. Don't like the team, but I do like what they did for me on that day. So
you're saying they top notch when it comes to doing something right, when it comes to being personal.
Yeah, and that stadium is like, but honestly, their practice facility is more impressive to me than the stadium. That Star in Frisco,
been there.
Woo! That place is nice, and the way that they have that thing set up, that all those top-notch football games, the high school is now being played there. I mean, again, business acumen, man. I mean, Jerry Jones, you might not like what he's doing, but you got to respect game, right? He's got a gold jacket for what he's done with that franchise. He's basically, Lady A, have you been down there, Lady A?
Yes, I have.
I mean, basically what he did is put a football practice facility in the middle of Georgetown. That's what he
Well,
did.
well,
There's shops all around
he
there.
built it and then he put the rest around it.
Right. It's like Georgetown. It's like
Yep.
I mean, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. They're making. I mean, it's a destination. You know, like
Yeah.
my best friend lives in Dallas. My son's godfather lives in Dallas, and I said, "Yo, I want to come down to the game." He's like, "Yo, you got to go to the practice facility." I was like, "What? I want to go to the game." He said, "You want to go to the practice facility?"
Yep.
He took me to the practice facility. People are paying to go to the practice facility.
Yep.
That's insane. It's
Yep.
insane.
That whole area out there is all Mr. Jones and the
People
family.
are paying to, so I really give them credit for. I do not like them because it's in my DNA to not like the Dallas Cowboys on the field, but what they did for me and my family off the field and the memories that they gave my ailing father, I will forever, as a son, forever be grateful. So those are my three memories: Santana, Troy Vincent blocking that punt, that kick, and then that last time I went down to Dallas with my father and my son for that game, and I'll never forget those memories. Those are typical Washington Dallas memories that is still up there as one of the best rivalries in all of sports.
Lady A, give us a good memory.
Well, overall, I'm a Daryl Green fan. He played as long as I can remember. So he intercepted the ball years ago and ran for 72 yards.
Pick six.
And I was in awe from that moment. Like, and that was, gosh, that would have to been, it was the late 80s. So that was awesome. I I recall another day, I think it was a championship. We played them for the championship. My family, we're a football family. You know, we have football parties, even in recent history.
Yeah.
I remember right before the pandemic, we all got together and had like a cook-off, but we let the kids do it. And it was for a Dallas at the time Redskin game. So, some of those are my favorite memories personally. But on the field, I mean, there are so many times where it's electric,
Yeah.
We have standout plays. We have standout players. But anytime we played against Dallas, I felt like Daryl Green showed out, and that was my thing right there. But my favorite memory altogether for the Commanders personally, well, Redskins at the time, it had nothing to do with Dallas, but it was a division game. We hosted Thanksgiving, the only time we've ever done that. I took my son at the time. We had the dream seats were in the end zone. And so we had the dream seats. He was in awe. Like, it was the electricity of it all. Beforehand, we tailgated with Tailgate Ted. If you're a Washington, D.C. fan, you know Ted. So we tailgated with him. That was the first time I met Doc in person. But we had a lot of Hall of Famers come over, cheerleaders. I feel like that's what we were talking about earlier. The NFC East is so electric. It is amazing. If you go to a division game, you'll find that, except for this last game. Yeah. But we're not going to talk about that. This last game, and I'm not talking about just the results of the game. The energy was shifted.
Yeah.
But I enjoy all of our rivalries, and so many families in this area were tied to that.
Yeah, I think that's why you get into sports. That's why I got into sports. That's what I got into broadcasting. the energy in buildings, the rivalry, the history, the stuff that's passed down from generation to generation, the stories, the face painting, the fan is short for fanatic, all that stuff that you see that Lady A just talked about, that everybody has a memory with your father or with your mother or with a family member, the first time you did this, the first time you did that. And a lot of it, more often than not, a lot of it has to do around the NFL.
Yep.
Around the
Yeah.
NFL. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see who is ready to etch their names
Mm.
in stone this week with the Commanders and the Cowboys. I hope it's Montez Sweat. He's been really, really close, and I pray that he has. Everybody's expecting Micah Parsons to have this huge game against us. Why can't Sweat be that person that has the game-changing everything? He comes out and sets the tone early. Who would you guys like to see set the tone? We already said McKissick, McLaurin, whatever. Who would you guys like to see set the tone? Give us a person that you guys would like to see set the tone for this Sunday's game versus the Cowboys.
You mean defensively or overall?
Offensively, who is going to set their name and make that memory that we'll be talking about for the next 10 years when it comes to this rivalry?
Oh, I already said it. Terry McLaurin. I think that Lady A said that too. Eminem. I think that. For me, it's Terry McLaurin. I think he, if you give him more targets, he makes the ridiculous plays. He's exciting. He is worth the price of admission to go see, right?
Yeah.
But you can't take the bubble wrap off him, take the shrink wrap off him, and let the boy loose. Let the boy loose. He's who you paid all that money for, and he's prime and ready. So I don't want him to be so discouraged that for game after game after game, the offensive coordinator is going away from him because they know everybody thinks they're going to go to him. Stop trying to outsmart. Just shove it down their throat, right?
Yeah.
That's what Joe Gibbs did. Stop.
Yep.
You go ahead and stop the counter trade. Go ahead. We're going to run Riggins right up your throat and try to stop it. Try to stop it. We ain't going to say, well, you think we're going to go to Riggins? Let's go. No, we're going to give it to Riggo, and we're going to shove it down your throat. And guess what? Stop us.
It's a manhood issue.
Yep.
Just stop us.
Lady A, you sticking with your M&Ms?
So I actually have picks on both sides. I feel Eminem, definitely, the both of them. But then I feel Jamin Davis. I'm a Davis girl, so I'm biased a little bit. But there was, not really controversy, but some comments that were said in reference to him. And, I feel kind of bad because he's so young. He's coming in. He's doing what he can do.
He's playing better.
Right. And like Lou said, it's like you can't just keep blaming him. There are more people on the field. But I feel like every week he is showing out. Like he's like, hey, I'm here. I have a job to do. And I feel like he's doing well. And I hope that this upcoming game, he'll show you even more. So I'm hoping for him to be a standout on that side of the ball, actually.
And you know what? Real quick, you brought something up, Lady A, that is very, very interesting to me. And deep down, I think a lot of people are rooting for Jamin Davis because I think that whole thing, the way that thing went down, was just kind of sketchy for me, right?
Yep.
I don't think you call out your players, right? Because to me, where's Cole Holcomb been?
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're going to call out Jamin Davis, I haven't heard his name being called, and I don't think he's been impactful as hell. And according to the defensive coordinator, he could be playing better as well. Yep. So if you're going to do it, then that's the dicey situation. So I think that there was some kind of psychology thing going on to make him play better. And I guess that's low-lying fruit. He's a second-year player. I'm just going to throw him under the bus and say, you know what? He needs to play better, right? But then Rivera said this week, I'm not going to call out any players. Well, you did earlier. So again, it's a slippery slope when you start calling out anybody. It's your unit or the defense. You keep talking about when you go in the locker room and they say, well, it's all 11 guys. It's all 53 of us and everything like that. So how could it be Jamin Davis's fault? Right? Your job as the coordinator is to put them in the positions to make the plays, right? Now,
I think it's in the job description.
there is talent all over that roster.
Yep.
There's at least 4 or 5 first round picks, right? The defensive coordinator, his job is to get the most out of those picks,
Yep.
right? So, hello. I mean, that's biblical. Before you look at the plank in my eye, before you look at the speck in my eye, look at the plank in your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How about you hold a big old poster up that says, "I'm gonna do my job today."
Exactly.
Right.
What happened?
Do your job.
It's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I am so ready. The closer we get to Sunday, the more excited I get. I hope you guys are getting just as excited as we are. We're ready for another great Cowboy, Redskins / football team / Commanders game. We hope you stick with us on First String Podcast. We're coming at you live tomorrow, so we'll be interactive. And then we'll have our picks on Saturday, but it's Cowboy week, so we'll be dropping something every day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the First String Podcast. Make sure you download the Bev Rivers app. Make sure you download the Bev Rivers app, and when all else fails, we always say, "Go Dogs."
Hey, you going to tell me about the Holder Hangout?
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, how could I forget?
He said, "Wait a minute."
Listen, you're absolutely right. You know what?
I mean, look,
tell us
Toothpick, Lady A Toothpick was instrumental. Full disclosure, right? I got to give credit where credit is due. Toothpick was instrumental in getting me to start this YouTube channel, right?
Good.
I mean, he sat down with me and he convinced me. He did something that a lot of people have not been able to do, right? Convinced me to do all of this, right? Because it is like another job, right?
It's another job.
To do all of this. And then he ain't gonna even pop it up. I mean, what's going on?
He's flustered.
I mean, I know you got all these reads and Bet River and everything like that, but give a brother. So I mean, you're the one who started this. You created this monster, and now you ain't even gonna feed it.
Oh, I gotta feed
it. He's flustered. It's Dallas week, so
it is. It's Dallas week.
I'm only playing.
I'm conserving some energy here for this weekend with a lot of people coming down. But yeah, tell us about the Holder Hangout, where everybody can find it, and what you put on there.
Well, I mean, you're responsible. You're partly responsible. So I thank you for that. I've just been interviewing a lot of people. I've kept it short. In the locker room, I've moved on from just football. I'm doing sports, entertainment, politics, my own personal life. I mean, I'm just having fun, just interviewing people, asking them different things. And, like when Frank Robinson, the legendary baseball figure, had a birthday, I interviewed David Aldridge, who told me a great story about, Frank Robinson. That has nothing to do with football, right? Me and my daughter went to this West Indian restaurant. I posted that, what we were eating, I played soccer in college with Alexi Lalas, one of the most decorated soccer players in U.S. history. Got an interview with him, just chatting. I went down to see him. He was in town, and he talked about the U.S. national team getting ready for the World Cup in November in Qatar, so all these things are on the channel, and I thank Toothpick for that, because I wasn't going to do it. I got too many other things going on, but he told me, he sold me, and so I need more subscribers.
Yes.
I mean, I got just 55 subscribers, so I don't know how these analytics work and stuff like that, but analytics or not, I'm having fun doing it. So, and people are talking to me, I guess, because, they feel that they can talk to me. So it's been fun. It's been fun to do it. Got some interesting things on the horizon, and, it's just a new world that Toothpick has introduced me to, and others as well. But Toothpick has introduced me to with this whole YouTube channel, and, I ain't no First String Podcast. I'm just my own little YouTube channel, but I like the space that I'm in. I like the space. So you can go on YouTube and look at Holder Hangout, and just like with the First String Pods, you could like and subscribe.
Yeah.
You go.
Do
There
that.
you go. Some great shorts. It is some great shorts. Really good shorts.
Got some Jared Patterson when he, I think my most memorable one so far to me was when the 53-man roster came out, and Jared Patterson, who's a local kid, didn't make the roster, but was put on the practice squad, right? And so everybody's in the locker room and interviewing him about being on the practice squad and his hometown team. And man, the spiritual groundness and just professionalism that this kid has at such a young age, to take the good with the bad and the life in the NFL and how he's setting an example for others. Fascinating to me. It was it's the one I enjoyed. It's the interview that I have enjoyed the most because it was the most heartfelt, right? There's the other side of the NFL, right? There's the Chase Youngs and there's the top draft picks, but then there's the guys that are fighting and scratching and clawing, to make the team and to follow your dream and follow your passion. That's the real NFL, right? More people are like that than they are the bonus babies, the spoon, the silver spoon in the mouth and stuff like that. So to hear him and not be dejected, but actually be excited that he gets another opportunity to put on the uniform, even in practice. I'm rooting for that young man in sports and in life. And for me to be able to do that, I wouldn't have been able to do that if Toothpick didn't say, you know what, you should do this and I'll guide you through it. So I went in there and I interviewed him, and it's great. I don't need a whole bunch of apparatus with everything. I just go in there with my camera, shoot the thing, and just hope I have enough memory on my phone.
Lou's got to get that iPhone 14. That should be your sponsor right there, that iPhone 14.
I need some First String Podcast money to afford that.
Oh. See, sponsors pay for that stuff. They pay for
that. That's that. I mean, so it's the chicken and the egg. I got to get the sponsor so I can get the phone.
Right. So we thank y'all for watching. Check out Lou and the Holder Hangout. Check out First String Podcast. We call it an OG Classic because we get in and we get out. Thank you all for stopping by.